The cars that are on track now, those driver names are in white. Now they will stay separated, Group A and Group B, for qualifying. All right, I'm going to say it once, and please don't everybody write it down. I felt so bad for Kyle Busch last Sunday. I mean, what a storybook ending that would have been. To take a backup car, put it all together, get out there, lead a bunch of laps, be in position to win, seal the deal. And circumstances dictated the outcome.
I actually saw him practicing the other night with the kids at Millbridge, and I told him that same thing, Mike.
Yep.
I said, you know, it's not every day as a competitor you feel bad for a Busch on a racetrack, and I feel bad for you. Man, that was a heartbreaker.
Yes, it was.
You said it, Clint. You said it. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't feel bad for him at all. But when you just take the reputation and the stigma out of the equation, you think this guy had such a rough weekend, backup car, and so many attritional things throughout the race. And there he is, you know, right there at the end, just about won it.
Well, that's why you never leave before the checkered flag falls. How about Ryan Blaney here very quickly, second overall.
And again, another thing that I like about the two groups, you know, how will it stack up? Track's heating up, it's getting slicker. And look at Ryan Blaney already getting up there, matching his teammate with Cindric at the top of the sheet.
Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, second and third, top 10 overall.
Larson creeping up there. Tires are coming in, building up. Lap times are falling.
All right, how much would you have bet me at the start of the season that we'd be this many laps, this many races in, and Tyler Reddick and Ross Chastain had led the most laps of the season?
Hey, the parity in this sport, parity around this car, I think you don't look any further than the car that created that parity. You know, I think all the teams are you know, frantically trying to catch up and learn as much as they can with all these different racetracks. That's what's so cool about the start of our season. You're all over the place. You're on a little bitty short track at the Coliseum. You go to the Monster at Daytona and a completely different style of racing, and then California, Vegas, all over the place. Back to a somewhat of a short track here that's flat and hard to get a hold of. All over the place. But this car, it really brings these drivers out. They've had their hands full. We've seen it time and time again, week in and week out. And this cat right here in this 8 car, he's a wheel man.
Third overall, second in this session, Larry.
Well, Mike, Tyler Reddick is trying to figure out two things: how fast this 8 car is, how good it's driving. But think about it. At Fontana 2 weeks ago, his left leg was going numb. They made changes to the seat and to the insert at Las Vegas. Both of his legs went numb. There's a lot of differences in this car from last year's car. The floorboard is lower in the foot box. The seat is about 3 inches lower, but the big change is the pedals are floor mounted and they're not hanging from the dash bar. They've made more changes, so Tyler's anxious to see if any of that shows up in his practice.
Hardest part about that is trying to figure that out in a short amount of time. That usually doesn't show up till about 150 laps into the race, an hour or so in.
Well, I talked to him. He said it took 20 minutes for him to feel it.
You can see right here, that footboard, right? The pedals are hanging on the floor now, or they're mounted on the floor. It changes every action of that pedal, and more so how your leg handles that action, right? When it hangs down from the top, that thing swings a completely different way, and you almost rest your leg on it. Now, being on the floor, I feel like your leg is on the front side of that seat.
Well, the pedals have a different pendulum. They go further away. The top of the pedal is further away from you, floor mounted, versus from the steering rack. Regan?
Well, Danica, you guys mentioned earlier in this show Kurt Busch and all the experience that he has. Kurt, you've driven every type of race car at Phoenix that you can drive, especially through the Cup years. What can you ask this car to do differently than maybe some of the former cars?
I mean, with practice being so limited, it's difficult to give a good answer. I mean, I ran Southwest Tour cars here in the 90s, and we were just starting to push the cars down onto a bump stop or a travel limiter, and Schrader would show up and kick our butts because he knew that from the Cup world. Trucks, I would say these things are driving kind of like early 2000 trucks, where you're sideways, and then when you get caught up in dirty air, you got to go and search for more racetrack to be able to make a pass. But this is 25, 40 cars that are going to be all on the same style package, and it makes it a fun challenge, and we're trying to get all this done in such a short practice. But thanks for the Money Lion. They're on our Toyota this weekend, and it's fun to have a set of colors and a new group of people here hanging out, and they're like, hey, you go get fast time, you go get a pole, we'll get you a pair of the new J's. So lot of motivation for our team to just keep kicking butt and building notes.
Thanks, Kurt.
Mike.